We're joined now by Suzanne Levine, the Executive Director of the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce. Thank you so much for joining us today, Suzanne.
Thank you, Ursula. Hope you're having a good morning.
It's a wonderful morning. Thank you. I hope you're having one as well.
Absolutely. I woke up this morning, so great start.
Perfect. And it's Friday, so it's even better.
Right.
So, can you explain a bit about what someone in your position as Executive Director of the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce does?
Well, an executive director is the person that is sort of like manages the ship. In my position, since I am the only one that we don't have any other staff, I'm responsible for the budget, the finances, the membership, the events, the website, the social media. I do have some help with the website and the social media, but for the most part, I put the content on there. Basically, I do everything except floors and windows.
So, you talked a little bit about being short staffed. So, what are some of the ways that people can find employees, especially with the past couple of years with COVID and the unemployment rates rising?
Well, I think people now have to look outside of the traditional box of employees. Um, Originally, there was a glut of, great help that they could have, but the pandemic kind of showed people that they really didn't like their jobs and didn't want to go back. So I think what they have to do is now look at perhaps some special needs people. I know the Friendship Circle. I know JVS has people that maybe are non-traditional. Seniors are also a great group to look at because a lot of them are still vibrant, and although they don't want to go back to work full time, they would love to have some part-time jobs, and they're loyal and they don't have to rush home to take care of the kids. And I just heard one of the governors speak about how they're looking to get retired policemen, retired firefighters, retired EMT, retired teachers, people that maybe they don't want a full-time job, but are they're very equipped and they're very skilled to work at other positions. So we really need to start looking outside of our traditional pool.
So, Suzanne, can you walk us through how the Greater West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce, connects other businesses through your matchmaking skills?
Well, one of the things that I love to do is when someone calls the chamber and wants to learn more about us, the first thing I ask is, well, you tell me about your business. Because by learning about what their business does and some of their goals, I can help them strategize about who will be great partners. So one of the ways is that, for example, one of my great stories is we had a local pizza shop join the chamber, and I connected him to all kinds of real estate agents, for example, and said when they sell a house, they should let him know. And if he just delivered even a small or medium pizza to them and said, welcome to the neighborhood, that would be a great way to sort of introduce his business to new, people that move into the neighborhood. The other way is that we have all kinds of networking events, our Cup of Connections, which is the second Friday of every month, where we feature a local business. And I also make sure that when we go to these networking events, that no one is in the corner because we know that not everyone is outgoing. So I'm sort of like your mother. I make sure that you get to meet people, except I don't get the same eye rolls from the businesses like I do from kids.
How would you say that these businesses have to reinvent the way they run, either not having enough employees or maybe hiring a bunch of new people? I know they have to reinvent the way that they might have planned to run before.
Well, one of the ways they can reinvent is to make sure that they have some sort of social media presence, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or Twitter, whatever it is. They should take pictures of their merchandise if they can get some loyal customers to give a testimonial. Or also, I mentioned this during the pandemic when a lot of the shops were somewhat closed, that if they could offer free delivery to some of the people that bought, to some of the loyal customers. And again, make sure that the customer is happy because we know that a happy customer is going to do a lot more good, than 100 complaints. One happy customer can undo a lot of bad publicity, and one bad interaction with an employee can ruin your business.
Right. So, in regards to social media presence, in your experience, what would you say is probably the best platform to do this on?
Well, we know that the younger generation definitely is TikTok, and the older generation seems to gravitate towards Facebook. So I think you really have to, depending on your audience, I think you have to have a multi-pronged social media campaign and, try all of them and see which one yields the biggest results. And of course, being interviewed on Civic Center TV's The Splash gives them a lot more coverage than they could ever imagine because I've noticed that even if you Google certain people's names, their interview comes up. So that is a great free way of, businesses to get the word out because they can definitely promote their business better than I can. I can make sure they make the right connections, but they know all about, what makes their operation tick.
Right. Yeah, it definitely helps to be able to like Google something and have everything pop up. It's the magic of the internet today. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, so how important is giving back to the community in this area?
It's really important. I think that, during the pandemic, people were a lot more grateful. And I've noticed that there's been kind of a reversion back to, taking care of myself, taking care of me, which is also important. But that's why one of our speakers, our great signature leadership breakfast this year, we have the vice president of Rocket Community Fund, Laura Graneman, and she's also the executive director of Gilbert Family Foundation. And they have this incredible mission of trying to make sure that the people of Detroit are fed, housed, and digitally connected. And whether we like it or not, even if it's from a selfish perspective, we are all connected. So if the people of a community are unhappy or are poor or are hungry, it's gonna reverberate into the suburbs. There are no safe havens anymore. So even from a selfish perspective, we really need to care about helping other people. And I think when you uplift someone else up, it is so much more gratifying than buying yourself a new dress or piece of jewelry. It's really so uplifting to know that you helped someone, you know, fish for life as opposed to just giving them a fish for a day.
Right. So do you think there are places in West Bloomfield that might need a little more help than others in the area?
Absolutely. And I know that we have a couple local organizations, Open Door Outreach, which actually has a ribbon cutting August 30th at 9 o'clock. You can go to our website, westbloomfieldchamber.com, to find out more about it. But they give not only their food pantry, but they also help with they have a little store where people can get things. There's no questions asked. And we also have hospitality food pantry, which also does the same thing. They give food, they give job training, they give cars. So we have these great organizations right in our backyard that want to help people. And also JVS, I believe they changed the name to Geyser, and they help people with job training. Um, so we have a lot of organizations, and you can find them on our website, or they can contact me to find out if they are in need. And I know sometimes people are embarrassed, but I think the pandemic has shown us that no one is safe, from having their business go or their health. So there's a lot of organizations that can help them get back on their feet.
Right. So, Suzanne, we have about a minute and a half left. Is there anything else you want to cover before we go today? Maybe any events coming up or anything that can help a little more?
I think our leadership, September 13th, our leadership breakfast with, as I mentioned, Vice President Laura Graneman of Rocket Community Fund is going to be a fabulous event. My good friend Roop Raj is the MC. It's September 13th. People need to register and pay by September 6th. And this is a great event that we have every year. Last year we had Casey Crane of Crane Communications. So we always try to find a leader in our community. It's a great networking event. And there's lots of opportunities to meet local leaders that people, the average person might not be able to get to connect and maybe talk about their business or learn more about how they can increase their profitability.
Could you repeat one more time what your website is just for our viewers to be able to look that up?
Absolutely. It's westbloomfieldchamber.com, or they can contact me at 248-626-3636 or wbloomfieldchamber@gmail.com. And even if you're not a chamber member, I'm always happy to, speak to you and try to give you some direction.
Well, thank you so much, Suzanne. We always appreciate having you on our show.
Thank you, Ursula. It was really great speaking with you, and you did a fabulous job today.
Well, thank you. It's always a pleasure.